Hi folks, Agnes here again, and this time we're going to work on editing some of these shapes and adding lines. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we got to delete some shapes. So first step is to select your shape. Right now I have this giant's lens flare over everything, so I'm just going to click on the lens flare and I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. I'm going to go over here again. You'll notice when I hover over a line in the lens flare or a shape, it highlights in blue on my computer. That blue highlight will change depending on what layer you're on, but as long as you're working on the same layer, that highlight will stay the same. And once again, to delete the shape, I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. Okay. Notice also that I am using the selection tool. The selection tool is designed to allow you to move, resize, and rotate your objects. So, to select something in the selection tool, click on the selection tool first. You can also use the V keyboard shortcut, which I will show you a little later on. To pick an object, hover over either its fill, so the big color area in the middle, or its path, the outline, and click on it once. Now that you have it selected, you should see a nice little bounding box around it. You've got your four corners and the center marks. You can then start to resize it. If you hover over any one of the side and center marks, you'll see a two-headed arrow. This allows you to stretch or shorten your shape. Same goes side to side. So I'm clicking and dragging. So once again, click, hold the mouse button down, and pull the mouse around. Okay. Now, if you click anywhere inside the object, it'll allow and drag. So I'm still holding down the mouse key with my pointy finger, and I'm moving the mouse around. It allows you to move the shape. If I hover over the corner and I see a two-headed arrow, once again pointing side to side, that allows me to resize both the horizontal and vertical aspects of the object. So I hovered over the corner, I press down the mouse button by clicking, and I'm still pressing it down, I haven't let go, and I move the mouse closer to the starting point or away. Same thing happens when you use keyboard shortcuts with this. So I'm going to select this square. If I want to keep this square perfectly proportioned, I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to hover over the corner where you see the two-headed arrow. I'm pressing down the mouse button, and I've got my Shift key down and my mouse down, and then I pull. I release the mouse and release the Shift, and I have proportionally resized my rectangle. So I should say square. Proportionally resize my square. If I want to do so from the center of the object, I have to select the object, hold down the Alt key, hold down the Shift key, hover over the corner. As you see the two-sided arrow, now click and drag. So you can see that now we're resizing proportionately from the center. The same thing applies to spheres and ellipses, as well as stars and polygons. I can squish them and pull them by hovering over the corners. I can use a proportionate resize by holding down the Shift key, and I can resize from the center by holding down the Alt key. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Say we wanted to rotate some of these, and I'm going to use the squares. I'm going to move the spheres to the side. You don't have to worry about this, but I'm going to move this little to the center. And to move, I click the button, and I'm holding down the button, mouse key, the regular mouse key with my pointy finger, and I'm moving it around. Okay, to rotate, if you have your selection tool enabled and you hover near the edge of the corner, it's not over the corner because it gives you the straight arrow, but just a little bit outside of it, you'll notice that your arrow turns to a two-headed curved arrow. Once you have that, if you click down and drag, kind of making circles with the mouse right now while I've got the mouse key down, mouse button pressed, it allows you to rotate your triangle. See, just like that. Now you can also use the shift key to rotate your triangle. That will limit your rotations to 45-degree variations. So you will get, much more controlled rotations. And if you need to have that line straightened, it'd be good. Okay, the next part is I promised to talk about is your line tools. Much like your shape tool, your line tool has a couple different options. The line segment tool essentially creates a straight line for you. So if you click once on the keyboard, you can tell it how long to be and at what angle, like this. If you click and drag, so that's clicking and dragging, creates a bunch of lines. If you hold down that, once again, go back into the arc tool. If you click and drag, it creates a curve. If you click once, it gives you the box that tells you to create the curve, how much of a slope to give it. So is it convex, concave, how big to make it. So it changes the curve of the arc. Right click again. Spiral tool creates spirals. So you click and drag to create spirals. The direction in which you turn kind of determines which direction the spiral is going in. And you can also add line segments to it by hitting the up arrows to make the spiral more spirally, or down arrows to make the spiral less spirally. Okay, so this is, and you can also create the segments and the direction of the spiral by clicking on the keyboard and then using the menu here to say make fewer segments. I'm going to do 4 segments and I'll change the rotation of the spiral. So there it is. Spiral tool. The other option is the rectangular grid tool. It literally makes a rectangular grid. Really helpful for calendars. Just throwing that out there. And then the polar grid tool creates kind of what looks like the a cookie sheet, a round cookie sheet for you. So those are the line tools. You can edit those again, move them around just like you did with the shapes. The only thing that you have to remember is in order to select these by default, if you look at the fill, it is empty. And the only thing that actually has color to it is the line itself, the stroke. So to move it around, you have to click on the stroke and then drag it around on your keyboard. Otherwise, on your with your mouse, otherwise it will not work. Okay, now I'm going to do something entertaining. Because I have the selection tool, I can select multiple objects at the same time. To do that, you've got 2 options. You can click and drag. So once again, I'm holding down the mouse button and pulling my mouse around the page to create a group selection. Anything that selection box that I drew touches is going to be selected. So I'm going to hit delete to clear up some of these shapes. You can also select multiple shapes by clicking on them and then clicking the shift key, or holding down the shift key to be more precise. So I'm going to start by clicking on this rectangle. I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to click on the next rectangle, and I'm going to click, still holding down the shift key, click on the next shape that I want to select, next shape, the next shape, next shape, next shape. And then I'm going to hit delete to get rid of them. And now all of a sudden I have a pretty nice empty clear working space for you guys. If I want to have some alignments on this space, I do prefer to use the menus, because yes, you can use these previews. If you don't see these kind of help grids show up, go to view. We have the snap to glyph and snap to point turned on, snap to pixel and snap to grid. Smart guides are also turned on. This all allows you to line things up a little bit better. And this is in your view drop down menu. So make sure your smart guides are turned on. If you don't see any of these pieces, go in here and check to make sure that hide corner and hide edges is not accidentally turned on. You do not want check marks next to those. No check marks, none. No. Okay, so that's good. Um, So now if I want to line these up perfectly centered, I'm going to select them both. And here at the top, there's the word align. If you click on this, it gives you the align objects palette. And you'll notice that you can align to the left, align to the center, align to the right. You can align to the top, align to the center horizontally, and align to the bottom. You can also, if you have 3 objects, now I'm going to show you a cool thing. Keyboard shortcut to copy. Select the object, hold down Alt, and hold down Alt, release the object, and release the Alt key. And now you have a copy. So say I have these 3 objects and I want to line them up on the center. I would go into my Align menu. I would hit Horizontal Alignment, and then even out the spacing, I can do Horizontal Distribution. I can line them to the left, I can line them to the right, but I can also center the rectangle in between. So that's kind of cool. A little bit to help you guys work in Illustrator for the future. Then that's about 10 minutes.